Captain Valen had one simple rule that kept him alive for 40 years in space. Stay away from humans. The Galactic Council had made it very clear. Humans were dangerous. They came from a death world called Earth where everything tried to kill them. The gravity was crushing. The atmosphere was toxic to most species, and the predators were nightmares. Somehow humans not only survived, but became the top predator on their planet. Valen's ship moved quietly through the Kepler expanse, a safe trading route far from human space. His crew of 12 worked smoothly, their scaled bodies reflecting the blue lights of the ship's controls. They were 3 days away from Meridian Station, where Valen planned to sell his cargo and make a good profit. The trouble started at 4 in the morning, station time. Krill, his sensor operator, called out from her station. Her voice was calm, but Valen heard the worry underneath. "Captain, I am detecting a distress beacon." Valen felt his heart sink. "Where is it coming from?" "Sector 792. It is a research vessel. The configuration matches the Pelian Science Guild." This was bad news. The Pelians were peaceful plant eaters who spent their lives studying the universe. They had no weapons and no defenses. If they were in trouble, Council law said all nearby ships had to help them. Valen had no choice. "How far away are they?" he asked quietly. 18 hours at maximum speed. "Captain, their signal says they have major hull damage and life support is failing." Valen closed his eyes and thought about his options. 18 hours meant he could reach them in time. He could not ignore the call. His honor would not allow it, and the Council would take away his trading license. Set course for their location. Maximum speed. "Tell them we are coming to help." The quiet passage changed direction and rushed toward the distress signal. Valen tried to ignore the bad feeling in his stomach. Something felt wrong about this whole situation. 16 hours later, they found the Pelian ship tumbling through space. Atmosphere was leaking from a huge tear in the hull. The damage looked strange to Valen. This was not from an asteroid impact or equipment failure. "This was from weapons, Captain. I am reading life signs. 7 Pelians are still alive, but their life support will fail in less than 2 hours, Krill reported. "Pirates?" Valen asked, though he already suspected the answer. "No debris from attacking ships. No ion trails. Whoever did this is gone." Valen made his decision quickly. "Get the rescue shuttle ready. Full medical team. We bring them aboard and leave immediately." The rescue took 40 minutes. The Pelian survivors were terrified, their large eyes wide with shock. Their leader, a scientist named Dr. Gila, grabbed Valen's arm with surprising strength as they brought her aboard. "They are still out there," she whispered, her voice rough from breathing bad air. "The Kragoth. They attacked without warning. We were just doing archaeological surveys on the moon below. We found something they did not want anyone to see." Valen felt ice form in his blood. The Kragoth were enforcers for the Syndicate, the most dangerous criminal organization in the galaxy. "They did not leave witnesses alive. We need to leave. Now," he ordered. But as his ship prepared to jump to faster than light speed, Krill's voice cut through the bridge with pure fear. "Captain, 3 Kragoth warships just appeared. They are powering weapons. Distance is 200,000 kilometers and they are coming fast." Valen's mind raced through his limited options. His merchant ship had no weapons, weak shields, and could not outrun military vessels. They were dead unless something miraculous happened. "Send a distress call. All frequencies. Everything we have," he ordered. "Sir, the nearest Council patrol is 4 days away. We do not have 4 minutes." Valen looked at his crew and saw the acceptance in their eyes. Then he looked at the Pelian survivors in his medical bay. "They did not deserve to die like this. Send it anyway. Include our logs. Everything. If we die here, at least the Council will know what the Syndicate is hiding." Krill's fingers moved across her console, sending their final message into the void. The Kragoth ships were close enough now that Valen could see them on the visual display. 3 massive warships covered in weapons that could vaporize his ship in seconds. "They are calling us," Krill said softly. "Ignore them. We have nothing to say to murderers." The lead Kragoth ship fired a warning shot that passed within meters of their hull. The message was clear. Surrender or die. Valen stood up from his command chair and straightened his uniform. If these were his last moments, he would face them with dignity. Then Krill gasped. "Captain, something just appeared. Multiple contacts. Right between us and the Kragoth fleet." Valen's eyes went wide as his sensors showed the new arrivals. 5 ships, then 6, then 7. The signatures were strange, unlike anything in Council databases. The vessels looked aggressive and dangerous, covered in heavy armor and weapons. What are they? He breathed. Krill's voice was barely a whisper. According to their identification signals, they are human. Fleet designation is United Earth Defense Force, 3rd Expeditionary Group. The lead ship is called the UES Valkyrie. Valen's legs felt weak. Humans. Here. Standing between him and certain death. He had spent his entire career avoiding humanity. Now, in the strangest twist of fate, they might be his only hope for survival. The 7 human ships hung in space like silent guardians, their weapons pointed at the Kragoth fleet. Valen watched his scanner and waited. The humans had a reputation for being unpredictable and violent, but they also had a reputation for protecting the weak. He was about to find out which reputation was true. The Kragoth ships were repositioning, clearly surprised by the sudden arrival. Valen could imagine their confusion. Humans were supposed to stay in their restricted zones far from this sector. Their presence here was technically illegal according to council law. But right now, Valen did not care about council law. He cared about staying alive. He cared about the 7 Pelian scientists who had already lost their colleagues to syndicate violence. He cared about getting everyone to safety. The communication console beeped. An incoming transmission. Human origin. Captain Valen, this is Commander Kyle Martinez of the United Earth Defense Force. We received your distress call. Are you and your passengers safe? The voice was calm, professional, and strangely reassuring. Valen found his voice. Commander Martinez, this is Captain Valen. We are safe for now. The Kragoth attacked a Pelian research vessel. We rescued the survivors. They want to kill us all. Not on my watch, Captain. Sit tight. This'll be over soon. The channel closed. Valen looked at his crew and saw hope mixed with fear on their faces. The humans were here to help, but what would happen next? Would there be a battle? Would the Kragoth flee or fight? Valen sat back in his command chair and watched the tactical display. 7 human ships against 3 Kragoth warships. The numbers seemed almost even. But Valen had heard stories about human combat capabilities. They fought with a ferocity that shocked other species. He was about to witness it firsthand. Commander Kyle Martinez stood on the bridge of the UES Valkyrie and watched his 7 ships take position between the merchant vessel and the Kragoth warships. The transition from faster-than-light travel always gave him a headache, but there was no time to worry about that now. People needed help. Give me a status report, he ordered. Lieutenant Amy Chen looked up from her tactical station. All ships are in position, sir. The Kragoth vessels are 300,000 kilometers ahead. The merchant ship is directly behind us with failing shields. I am reading multiple species aboard, including Pelian life signs. Kyle studied the display carefully. The Kragoth ships were moving, clearly surprised by the human arrival. Good. Surprise was always useful in situations like this. Communications. Open a channel on all frequencies. Let me talk to them. Lieutenant Danny Park nodded. You are live, sir. Kyle spoke clearly and calmly. Attention, Kragoth vessels. This is Commander Kyle Martinez of the United Earth Defense Force. You are targeting a civilian vessel in distress. Stand down your weapons immediately and leave this sector. The response came quickly. The Kragoth commander's voice was harsh and angry. Human vessel, this does not concern you. The Council has restricted your species to specific sectors. You are violating galactic law by being here. Leave or face the consequences. Kyle smiled slightly. He had heard similar speeches before from Council bureaucrats who did not like humans moving freely through space. Tactical, what are we dealing with? Amy's fingers moved across her console. 3 Kragoth battlecruisers. Heavy weapons and decent shields. They are bigger than us individually. But they are designed for scaring people in piracy, not real combat. Their formation is sloppy. They are not expecting serious resistance. Weapons status. All ships report ready. Railguns loaded. Missiles ready, point defense systems online. The Kragoth shields will not handle our kinetic weapons well. They are built to deflect energy weapons like lasers and plasma. Kyle nodded. Most alien species used energy-based weapons. Humans, who grew up fighting everything on Earth, preferred throwing very hard objects at very high speeds. Simple but devastatingly effective. Sir, the Kragoth are targeting us, Amy reported. Weapons are hot on all 3 ships. All vessels go to battle stations. Activate combat shields. Get ready to move fast. Kyle opened the fleet-wide channel. All ships, you are free to engage if fired upon. Protect the civilian vessel. Show these pirates what happens when they threaten innocent people. His crew moved with practiced efficiency. Humanity might be new to galactic civilization, but they brought millions of years of survival instincts from a planet that constantly tried to kill them. Kragoth vessels are firing, Amy announced. Streams of superheated plasma shot toward the human ships. The Earth vessels scattered instantly, their speed and maneuverability shocking the Kragoth commanders who expected slower responses. Return fire. All ships hit the lead vessel together. Target their shield generators, Kyle ordered. The Valkyrie shook as its main railgun fired. A tungsten carbide slug accelerated to incredible speed in less than a second. 6 other human ships fired at the same time, their projectiles arriving at the target almost simultaneously. The Kragoth commander had made a fatal mistake. Energy shields were designed to handle heat and electromagnetic radiation. Solid projectiles moving at near light speed required different physics to stop. The lead Kragoth battlecruiser's shields collapsed instantly. 3 slugs punched through the hull, one passing straight through the reactor section. The vessel went dark, atmosphere venting from multiple holes. Direct hit. Enemy vessel disabled. The other 2 are breaking formation, Amy reported with satisfaction. Kyle watched the remaining Kragoth ships try to flee, their confidence shattered. Follow them. I want them disabled, not destroyed. We need at least one intact for questioning. The human fleet accelerated, their engines pushing thrust that would have killed most alien species. Humans could withstand higher G-forces than any other known intelligent species. Another benefit of growing up under Earth's heavy gravity. The chase lasted 6 minutes. Both Kragoth ships took damage to their engines and weapons, leaving them helpless. Kyle ordered his Marines to prepare boarding teams. If the Syndicate was attacking civilian research vessels openly, he needed to know why. Sir, we are receiving a transmission from the merchant vessel. Audio only, Danny reported. Put it through. A nervous voice filled the bridge, speaking English with a heavy accent. Human vessels. This is Captain Valen of the merchant ship Quiet Passage. I want to thank you. You saved our lives. We have Pelion survivors aboard. They need medical help. Kyle heard the fear in the alien's voice and the uncertainty. He had heard it before from aliens meeting humans for the first time. They did not know whether to feel grateful or terrified. Captain Valen, this is Commander Martinez. We will take care of your wounded. We are securing the area, and will have medical teams on your vessel within the hour. Can you tell me what happened here? There was a pause. Then Valen's voice came back, steadier now. The Pelions discovered something on an archaeological dig below. Ancient ruins. The Kragoth attacked to silence them. They would have killed everyone. Kyle exchanged looks with his executive officer, Lieutenant Commander Lisa Hayes. Ancient ruins meant old technology, and technology meant power. The Syndicate would not kill people to hide old stones. We will investigate the site. First, let us get your people stabilized. Valkyrie out. Kyle turned to his communications officer. Danny, send a priority message to Fleet Command. Full report on this incident. Include all sensor logs of the Kragoth attack on civilians. Yes, sir. Should I request additional support? Kyle thought about it. His battle group was deep in restricted space, far from Earth's official territory. The Council would be angry, but civilians had been attacked and humanity had clear policies about protecting innocent people. No, we finish what we started here, but make sure Admiral Shaw knows we might need diplomatic help with this one. As medical teams prepared to transfer to the Quiet Passage and Marines secured the disabled Kragoth vessels, Kyle stared at the planet below. Something down there was worth killing for, which meant it was worth investigating. Humanity had been told to stay in their corner of the galaxy and follow rules designed to keep them contained. But those rules apparently did not apply to criminals and murderers. It was time the galaxy learned something important about humans. They really hated bullies who picked on weaker species. Kyle walked to the large window at the front of the bridge and looked at the stars. His ships were alone out here, far from backup, operating in space where they technically should not be. But they had done the right thing. They had saved innocent lives. Commander, the boarding teams are reporting in. The Kragoth prisoners are secured but not talking. Standard Syndicate training. They are more afraid of their bosses than they are of us, Lisa reported. Then we make sure they understand we can protect them if they cooperate. The Syndicate only has power because people are afraid. We need to break that fear. What about the archaeological site? Should we send a team down? Kyle nodded. Get Dr. Helen right. She is our best at ancient civilizations. Full security escort. I want to know what the syndicate was trying to hide badly enough to murder scientists. As the orders went out, Kyle felt the familiar weight of command. Every decision had consequences. Coming here had been the right choice morally, but it would cause political problems. The council would accuse humans of expanding beyond their boundaries, of being aggressive and unpredictable. Let them complain. Some things were more important than politics. Protecting innocent people was one of those things. The medical teams reported that the Pelian survivors were stable but traumatized. Dr. Hella, their leader, kept repeating that they had found something important in the ruins. Something that connected to other ancient sites across the galaxy. Something that powerful people wanted to remain hidden. Kyle made a mental note to speak with her personally once she recovered. Scientists did not usually attract murderous attention unless they discovered something truly significant. For now, he had a crime scene to investigate and prisoners to interrogate. The syndicate had made a mistake attacking civilians in a sector where humans could respond. They were about to learn that humanity took a very dim view of bullies and murderers. The galaxy might fear humans for being dangerous, but sometimes dangerous was exactly what innocent people needed for protection. Dr. Helen Wright walked carefully through the ancient corridors, her helmet light cutting through darkness that had lasted thousands of years. Behind her, a team of Marines kept their weapons ready, watching for threats that probably did not exist. Humans took security very seriously, maybe too seriously, but Helen was grateful for the protection. The ruins were amazing. They were older than any known civilization in this part of space, by at least 50,000 years, maybe more. The Pelian researchers had been right to get excited. This discovery would change everything people knew about galactic history. Dr. Wright, "You need to see this," called Sergeant Brandon Cole from deeper in the structure. Helen made her way through a collapsed archway, her scanner creating three-dimensional maps of everything around her. The builders had understood engineering at a level that impressed even human experts. These were not lucky primitives. This was an advanced civilization. She found Brandon standing in front of a massive wall covered in writing. The symbols were angular and precise, nothing like the flowing scripts of modern galactic languages. But what caught her attention was not the writing. It was the star map carved above it. "Oh my God," Helen whispered, her hands moving quickly over her portable computer. "Brandon, get Commander Martinez on the line right now." While the sergeant made the call, Helen studied the map with growing amazement. The star positions were very old, but she could adjust for drift and rotation. The map showed this entire sector of space with dozens of systems marked with symbols she did not understand yet. 3 systems glowed with what looked like warning markers, red symbols repeated over and over. One of those systems was less than 20 light-years from Earth. "Dr. Wright, Commander Martinez is ready to talk," Brandon announced. "Commander, we found something down here. An ancient civilization far older than anything in Council records. They left behind a warning. A big warning." Kyle's voice came through her helmet speaker. "What kind of warning, Doctor?" "That is the problem. I cannot read the text yet. But the star maps are clear. 3 systems are marked as dangerous. One is the Kragoth home system, another is deep in unexplored space, and the third is in the sector where the Council first encountered humanity. Near Earth." A long silence followed. Then Kyle spoke carefully. "Doctor, what exactly did this ancient civilization think was dangerous about our neighborhood?" "I do not know yet. But Commander, I am seeing similar warning markers on other systems. Dozens of them. All inhabited by species known for high aggression, tough bodies, and advanced problem-solving. The Kragoth, the Vrex, the Thorians. All the species the Council calls dangerously violent. You are saying this ancient civilization mapped Deathworlds? More than that. I think they mapped species from Deathworlds, and I think they were afraid of what those species would become." Helen moved closer to the wall, her fingers following the symbols. "There is something else. These are not just warnings. Look at how the symbols progress. They tell a story. A civilization rising, expanding, and then conflict. Massive conflict. And then nothing. The timeline just stops. Could they have been destroyed?" Kyle asked. "Possibly. But Commander, if this civilization was advanced enough to survey multiple sectors, create detailed star maps, and build structures that last 50,000 years, what could have destroyed them so completely that we never found any trace of their existence before now?" Another pause. Helen could almost hear Kyle thinking. "Doctor, document everything you can. If the Syndicate wanted this hidden badly enough to murder civilians, we need to know why. Understood. Right out. As Helen continued her work, she noticed someone else in the ruins. Dr. Hella, the Pelian scientist who survived the attack, had insisted on joining despite her injuries. The gentle plant eater approached slowly, her large eyes reflecting the helmet lights. "Your people move through danger with such confidence," Hella said quietly. "It is remarkable and terrifying." Helen smiled under her helmet. "We are careful, not fearless. There is a difference." "Is there?" "I watched your ships fight the Kragoth. No hesitation, no fear. You flew straight into weapons fire like it was nothing. Council species would have talked and negotiated and tried every peaceful option until it was too late. You simply acted. The Kragoth were attacking civilians. There was nothing to negotiate about." Hella made a sound that might have been agreement or worry. "This is why the Council fears your kind. You make complex situations simple. Right and wrong. Threat and non-threat. It makes you effective but unpredictable." Helen thought about this. The Pelian was not wrong. Humanity did prefer clear action over endless debate. Millions of years competing with predators that could kill instantly had bred out hesitation, but that same evolution had also bred compassion for the weak and anger at injustice. "The Council's fear is not just about our fighting ability," Helen said carefully. "It is about what we represent. Every species in the galaxy comes from garden worlds, comfortable places where evolution was gentle. Earth was not like that. Earth was hell. And we survived by becoming the most dangerous thing on our planet. And you think this ancient civilization knew about worlds like Earth?" Helen pointed at the star map. "I think they knew about dozens of them. And I think they were terrified of what would happen when those species reached space. What did happen to them? That is what we need to find out." Helen's scanner detected a new chamber deeper in the structure. The readings showed it was sealed, preserved in nearly perfect condition. Whatever was inside had been protected for tens of thousands of years. "Brandon, we are going deeper. Tell the commander we may have found something important." The Marine sergeant nodded and signaled his team. They moved through collapsed corridors and past broken statues, going down into the heart of the ancient complex. The temperature dropped as they went deeper, protected from the surface by insulation that still worked after impossible time. The sealed chamber's entrance had more warning symbols. Helen carefully studied the sealing mechanism, which was surprisingly simple. Mechanical rather than electronic. The ancients had built this to last forever. "Ready to open it?" Brandon asked, his weapon pointed at the door. Helen nodded and entered the unlocking sequence she figured out from studying the building patterns. The door hissed as ancient gases escaped, then slowly swung open. Inside was a storage room. Crystal devices lined the walls, thousands of them, each holding compressed data in formats that Helen's equipment struggled to read. But in the center of the room stood something more understandable. A holographic projector. "Can you turn it on?" Hela breathed, her fear overcome by curiosity. Helen approached the device carefully. The power source was unlike anything she had seen, still generating energy after unimaginable time. She touched the activation panel and the room filled with light. Images appeared, three-dimensional and startlingly clear. The ancient civilization in their best days. Tall beings, elegant and intelligent, building cities across continents. Then the images changed. Ships arriving from space. Not invaders at first. Peaceful contact. Exchange of knowledge. But the newcomers were different. Stronger. More aggressive from a world that was obviously harsh. The visual similarities to humanity were striking. The hologram showed cooperation and joint projects. For a time it seemed to work. Then came conflicts, small at first, then growing. Different philosophies becoming violent arguments. The strong species, the Deathworlders, multiplying faster, adapting better, taking risks the original inhabitants could not understand. The final images showed war. Terrible, complete war. Cities burning, fleets fighting, and then darkness. They destroyed each other. Helen whispered. The Garden World species and the Death World species destroyed each other completely. Hela's voice was small and frightened. "This is why the Council restricts your kind. They have seen this before. They know how this story ends." But Helen was looking at the final image frozen on the display. It showed something easy to miss. A third group watching from the edges of the conflict. Observers, manipulators. Species that benefited from the war by playing both sides. "No," Helen said firmly. This is not a story about inevitable conflict. This is a story about manipulation. Someone wanted these two species to destroy each other. Someone who gained power from the chaos. She turned to Brandon. Get everything. Every piece of data in this room. This is not just ancient history. This is a warning about right now. As the Marines carefully extracted the crystal storage devices, Helen looked at Hala. Your people were attacked because you found this. The Syndicate did not want anyone knowing that Deathworld species can live peacefully with Garden Worlders. They want everyone believing we are inevitable destroyers. But why? What does the Syndicate gain from conflict? Helen thought about the Council's restrictions on humanity, about the forced isolation and the fear governing every interaction between Earth and the rest of the galaxy. She thought about the profits from that fear, the power from division. Control, she said simply.
Fear is profitable.
War is profitable. Peace between Deathworlders and Garden Worlders, that is dangerous to certain interests. She opened her communication to the Valkyrie. Commander Martinez, we need to talk. And then we need to get this information to Earth and the Council. Everything just got much more complicated. Admiral Patricia Shaw stood in the operations center of Earth Station Olympus and watched the displays with growing worry. The data from Commander Martinez had arrived 3 hours ago, and what it meant was staggering. Play the important section again, she ordered. The hologram changed to show the ancient ruins and the warning about Deathworld species. Then it showed the evidence of manipulation, of outside forces creating conflict between civilizations. This changes everything, said Ambassador Richard Grant, the civilian who worked with the Galactic Council. He had spent 5 years trying to convince the galaxy that humanity was not a threat. If we can prove the Syndicate has been controlling Council policy about Deathworld species. If, Patricia emphasized. Right now we have ancient history and guesses. The Council will not act on that alone. We need current evidence. We need to connect these ancient manipulations to modern Syndicate operations. Commander Martinez believes the attack on the Pelian research vessel was just one incident. He wants permission to investigate other recent attacks on archaeological missions in that sector, reported Captain Andrew Morris, her chief of staff. Patricia thought carefully. Martinez was a good officer, careful but not afraid. If he thought there was a pattern, there probably was. But allowing continued operations in restricted space would let the Council claim humanity was breaking treaties. What is happening with the Kragoth prisoners? She asked, in custody aboard the Valkyrie. Martinez's people are questioning them, but the Kragoth are not talking. Standard Syndicate training. They are more afraid of their bosses than us. Then we need to give them something to fear more. Andrew raised an eyebrow. Ma'am? Patricia allowed herself a thin smile. Humans have a reputation for being dangerous. Let us use that. Spread a rumor through criminal networks that we are not taking prisoners anymore. See if that makes anyone talk. That is playing with fire, Admiral. If the Council thinks we are killing captives, we will not actually harm them. But the Syndicate does not need to know that. Fear works both ways. Before Andrew could respond, alarms sounded throughout the operations center. Displays lit up with new contacts. Multiple ships coming out of faster-than-light travel. Sector 785. That is Martinez's location, the tactical officer reported. Analysis shows Syndicate vessels. Heavy ones. I count 20 ships, including 3 large carriers. Patricia felt cold fear. 20 ships was a full battle fleet. Martinez had 7 ships already busy with archaeological support. This was not a coincidence. Get me Commander Martinez now. The channel opened within seconds. Kyle's face appeared on the screen and Patricia could see the tension there. Admiral, we have a situation. Syndicate fleet just arrived in force. They are demanding we turn over all archaeological data and leave the system immediately. What are your chances in a fight? We are outnumbered almost 3-1. Their ships are well armed and positioned to cut off our escape. I can fight, but I am not confident about winning. Patricia made a fast decision. Stall them. Do not fight unless they shoot first. I am sending reinforcements, but they are 6 hours away at best. Understood. Martinez out. Patricia turned to Andrew. Activate Battle Groups 7 and 9, emergency deployment. I want them at Martinez's position as fast as possible. That is 40 ships, ma'am. If we commit that much force to a fight with the Syndicate in restricted space, the Council will have to respond. This could trigger a major diplomatic incident. The Council can complain after we save our people. Move now. As orders flashed through Earth's military network, Patricia studied the tactical situation. Martinez was good, but even good commanders had limits. She needed to buy him time. Communications, get me a secure channel to Counselor Raven of the Pelion delegation. Mark it urgent. The old Pelion appeared on her screen within minutes. His wise eyes studied her carefully. Admiral Shaw, I received the early reports from Dr. Hella. The implications are disturbing. Counselor, the Syndicate has sent a fleet to silence Commander Martinez and destroy the evidence we found. I am sending reinforcements, but this is going to get bad. I need the Council to know we are acting to defend legitimate research and protect civilian scientists. Your civilian scientists? Raven was quiet for a moment. You are asking me to provide political support for a human military operation in restricted space. I am asking you to support your own people. Dr. Hela and her team were attacked by the Syndicate. We saved them. Now we are being attacked for investigating why. If the Council allows this, it tells everyone that the Syndicate can murder scientists without consequences. You know there are Council members who will see this as human aggression, who will say you are using this incident as an excuse to expand your territory. Patricia leaned forward. Then help me prove them wrong. The evidence we found shows that someone has been manipulating galactic politics for thousands of years, creating conflicts between species. Do you not want to know who? Do you not want to know if they are still doing it? Raven's expression changed slightly, showing deep thought. I will present your case to the Emergency Council. But Admiral, you must understand the fear your species creates. Every Deathworld species in history has caused tremendous problems. Your kind is the most dangerous yet. Because we survived Earth or because we refuse to be victims? Perhaps both. I will do what I can. May wisdom guide us all. The channel closed. Patricia turned back to the tactical display, watching as Battle Groups 7 and 9 began emergency deployment. Fast attack ships would arrive first in about 4 hours. The heavy carriers would take longer. Ma'am, we are getting reports from other sectors. 3 more archaeological sites have been hit by Syndicate forces in the last hour. All were researching ancient civilizations. All have been destroyed, Andrew reported grimly. They are cleaning up. They know we found something and they are destroying evidence. Patricia felt anger building. Get me a list of all active archaeological missions in that sector. We need to warn them. Already working on it. But ma'am, there is something else. Intelligence just flagged unusual Syndicate communications. They are moving assets across multiple sectors. This is not just about stopping Martinez. This is bigger. Patricia studied the intelligence reports flowing across her screens. The Syndicate was moving like an organization preparing for war. But war against who? The answer came 10 minutes later, when a heavily encrypted message arrived from an unlikely source. A Kragoth officer, one of the prisoners aboard the Valkyrie, had decided to talk. Play it, Patricia ordered. The Kragoth's face appeared, his reptilian features showing fear. Human Commander, I am Commander Vex of Kragoth Syndicate Operations. I am sending this message because what is about to happen will doom us all. The Syndicate leadership has decided the information you discovered cannot spread. They authorized a full strike against your expedition. But that is not the worst part. Vex paused, his eyes showing desperation. The Syndicate has been controlling Council policy from the shadows for over 300 years. The restrictions on Deathworld species, the isolation rules, the fear campaigns, all of it. They profit from keeping powerful species separated and afraid of each other. Your people finding proof of ancient manipulation threatens everything they built. The Council has factions who know the truth and factions kept ignorant. The attack on your ships will be blamed on human aggression. Evidence will be created. By the time truth comes out, if it ever does, humanity will be branded as aggressors and the Council will authorize military action to contain you. Permanently. Patricia felt cold fury. They are going to frame us for defending ourselves. There is more, ma'am, Andrew said quietly. He brought up another display. We are detecting unusual fleet movements among several Council species. They are mobilizing. Someone gave them advance warning that humanity was about to go rogue. The Syndicate's Council allies. They are setting the trap before we spring it. Patricia's mind raced through scenarios. If Martinez fights back, we look like aggressors. If he does not, he and his people die. Either way, the Syndicate wins. What do we do? Patricia looked at the tactical display, at the pieces moving into position across multiple star systems. Then she made a decision that would either save her species or doom it. We change the game. Get me a priority channel to every council species classified as a Deathworlder. The Kragoth, the Vrex, the Thorians, all of them. Time they learned they are not alone in being feared and manipulated. Ma'am, that will look like forming an alliance of aggressive species. The council will panic. Good, let them panic. Maybe it is time the galaxy stopped deciding our futures based on where we were born. And get me Commander Martinez. He needs to know what is coming and that he is not alone. As Earth's communication network burst into action, reaching out to other Deathworld species isolated and feared for generations, Patricia allowed herself a moment of thought. Humanity had been told to stay in their corner of space. They had been warned they were too dangerous to mix with civilized species. Today they would prove that sometimes the most dangerous thing in the galaxy was the courage to stand up for what was right. And they would do it alongside other species just as dangerous, just as determined, and just as tired of being treated like villains for being strong. Commander Kyle Martinez watched the Syndicate fleet move into attack positions and felt strangely calm. He had been in tight situations before, had faced odds that should have been impossible, but this time felt different. This time he was not just fighting for his ships or his crew. He was fighting for something much bigger. Commander, we are getting multiple incoming faster-than-light signatures. Lots of them. Lieutenant Amy Chen reported from Tactical. Her voice carried surprise. Sir, these are not our reinforcements. The signatures do not match any human vessels. Kyle felt his heart beat faster. Identify them. Working on it. First wave coming out of faster-than-light now. I am seeing Kragoth warships. Not Syndicate, though. Different markings. They are broadcasting on Council military frequencies. They are legitimate Kragoth defense force. How many? 12 ships. Taking defensive formation around our position. They are calling us. Kyle looked at Lisa Hayes with surprise. The Kragoth were one of the species the Council feared. Just like humanity, they came from a high-gravity world with extreme temperatures. Tough, aggressive, and known for their military strength. Put them through. A Kragoth officer appeared on screen, his scales showing the dark green color of their military. Commander Martinez, I am Fleet Commander Zax of the Kragoth Defense Force. We received a very interesting message from your Admiral Shaw. She said certain species have been manipulated by the Syndicate for their own gain. She also said we might want to do something about it. Kyle smiled. Fleet Commander Zax, I appreciate the help, but I have to ask. Why are you here? Your people and mine have not been friendly. No, we have not, because the Council kept us apart, told us you humans were unpredictable and dangerous, told us to stay in our sectors and not cause trouble. Meanwhile, the Syndicate operates freely, attacks civilians, and no one does anything. Zax's eyes showed something that might have been respect. Then we hear that humans not only saved a civilian vessel, but are investigating why the Syndicate wants ancient history buried. That is interesting. That is worth looking into. New contacts, Amy called out. Vrex heavy cruisers, 8 ships, Thorian battle groups, 6 ships. They are all taking defensive positions. The display was suddenly full of vessels from 4 different Deathworld species, all supposed rivals, all rated as dangerous by the Council, and all facing down a Syndicate fleet together. This is unexpected, Lisa said quietly. This is beautiful, Kyle corrected. Open a channel to all allied vessels, all frequencies. When the channel opened, Kyle saw commanders from species humanity had barely spoken to in the 5 years since first contact. The Vrex captain with her crystalline body, the Thorian commander with his dense muscles that would crush a human under Earth gravity, Zax with his reptilian intensity. Commanders, thank you for coming. I will not pretend this is not dangerous. The Syndicate outnumbers us and they are ready to fight. But before we do anything, you all need to see what we found. You need to know why they are really here. Kyle sent the data from the ruins, the ancient star maps, the evidence of manipulation, the proof that Deathworld species had been deliberately isolated and feared, not for galactic safety, but for Syndicate profit. He watched their faces as they understood. Saw anger, recognition, understanding. The Vrex captain, Commander Aria, spoke first. Her voice had a crystalline quality from her silicon-based biology. We always knew something was wrong. The Council's fear of us never made sense. We are not conquerors. We just want to live, to trade, to exist. But everywhere we go, we are treated like weapons ready to explode. Same with my people, Zax agreed. The Kragoth have been fighting the Syndicate for decades. But every time we make progress, Council interference stops us. Diplomatic pressure. Trade restrictions. Always something to keep us contained. The Thorian commander, Brock, rumbled his agreement. We thought it was just how the galaxy worked. Garden World species on top. Death World species kept controlled. But this data shows it is artificial. Engineered. The question is, what do we do about it? Kyle asked. The Syndicate fleet is moving into position. In 5 minutes, they are going to attack. We can run, try to escape with the data, or we can make a stand. Show the galaxy that Death World species are not the problem. The people manipulating us are. If we fight and win, the Council will see it as aggression, Arya pointed out. They will say we are forming a dangerous alliance. If we fight and lose, we are dead and the evidence is destroyed, Zax countered. Not much of a choice. There is a third option, Lisa said quietly. Everyone turned to look at her. We do not fight, we defend. There is a difference. We protect the archaeological site, protect the civilian researchers, and we dare the Syndicate to fire first. If they do, we have every ship here recording it. We show the galaxy who the real aggressors are. Kyle felt pride. Lisa had just proposed the most dangerous kind of plan. The kind that required discipline, control, and absolute faith that you could take the first hit and survive. I like it, Zax said with a fierce grin. Nothing the Council fears more than Deathworlders showing restraint. Breaks their story. The Syndicate will not hesitate, Arya warned. They will fire on civilian ships if it helps them. Then we make sure civilian ships are not in the line of fire, Kyle replied. All species form a defensive sphere around the planet. Shields overlapping, defense systems on full alert. We become a wall they cannot get through without showing themselves as the monsters they are. The Allied fleet moved with surprising coordination. Kragoth ships with their heavy armor took forward positions. Vrex cruisers with their advanced shields provided coverage. Thorian vessels built like flying fortresses anchored the sides, and human ships, fast and deadly, filled the gaps with precision. The Syndicate fleet approached and stopped, clearly surprised by the multi-species formation. They are calling us, Amy reported. Put it through. The Syndicate commander was a Pelvor, a species known for business skill and complete lack of morals. His face showed barely hidden rage. Human commander, you are protecting criminals and stolen property. Surrender immediately or be destroyed. Stolen property? Kyle asked calmly. You mean the ancient ruins on the planet below? The ones that have been here for 50,000 years? I am pretty sure they do not belong to the Syndicate. You are violating Council restrictions. You are forming an illegal alliance with other restricted species. This is exactly the kind of dangerous behavior the galaxy was warned about. We are protecting civilian researchers from pirates. That is not illegal. It is what any decent being would do. Decent? You are Deathworlders. You do not know what decent means. You know violence, destruction. You are animals who learn to fly ships. Kyle felt his crew tense. He could see the same reaction on the faces of the Allied commanders. The Syndicate commander had just made a mistake. He said what many Garden World species thought but were too diplomatic to voice. You know what the funny thing is? Kyle said conversationally. You are right. We are violent. We are dangerous. We come from worlds that tried to kill us every single day. We had to become tough to survive. But you know what else we learned? We learned to protect the weak. To stand up for those who cannot defend themselves. To value honor and courage, he leaned forward, his voice hardening. You call us animals? Look at yourselves. You attack civilian scientists. You murder researchers to hide truth. You manipulate entire civilizations for profit. So yeah, we are animals. But at least we are honest animals. We do not pretend to be civilized while acting like monsters. The Syndicate commander's face twisted with fury. You will regret that, human. All of you will. Fire at will. Destroy them all. The Syndicate fleet opened fire, dozens of weapons targeting the defensive sphere around the planet. Energy beams and missiles streaked toward the Allied vessels. All ships defensive fire only. Do not break formation. Make every shot count. Kyle ordered calmly. What followed was perfect defensive warfare. The Allied fleet did not advance, did not chase, did not attack beyond what was necessary to survive. They simply held their ground, their shields absorbing punishment, their defense systems stopping missiles with ruthless efficiency. The Kragoth ships took hits that would have destroyed lesser vessels and kept fighting. The Vrex shields bent but did not break. The Thorian armor ignored impacts, and the human ships danced between attacks, their speed making them frustratingly difficult targets. They are pouring fire into us and we are just sitting here? Amy said with disbelief. We are doing exactly what Lisa suggested. We are showing restraint. We are showing discipline. Every second they fire and we do not break, we prove we are not the mindless aggressors they claim, Kyle explained. Sir, I am detecting multiple new faster-than-light signatures. Big ones. It is our reinforcements. Battle Groups 7 and 9 just arrived, Amy reported with relief. 40 human warships appeared, joining the defensive formation. The tactical balance shifted immediately, but Kyle noticed something else. Amy, those other signatures. Who are they? Checking. Sir, it is council ships. Multiple species. And they are broadcasting ceasefire orders. To everyone. On the screen, a new face appeared. Counselor Raven, but he was not alone. Behind him stood representatives of a dozen council species, including several Kyle recognized as usually suspicious of Deathworlders.